My husband thought taking his mistress to Italy was the smartest thing he'd ever done. Until he came home and discovered I had sold our $8 million dream house while he was gone. Not the furniture. Not the cars. The entire house. And the best part. Legally, there was nothing he could do about it. For 15 years, I was the loyal wife who helped him build everything. Then one day, I walked into our home, and found another woman's clothes hanging in my closet. So here's exactly how I destroyed my husband's perfect little affair. Chapter 1, The House We Built Together. People think betrayal starts with cheating. It doesn't. It starts with small things. Like silence at dinner. Like your husband smiling at his phone more than he smiles at you. Like realizing the man who once begged for your attention now sighs when you speak. I noticed all of it. But I ignored it because I believed in history. 15 years of marriage. 2 kids. A business we built from nothing. And the house. God, that house. The white stone mansion overlooking the lake in Connecticut. It was supposed to be our forever home. I designed every inch myself. The kitchen counters came from Italy. The chandeliers were imported from France. The library had custom walnut shelves that took 6 months to finish. I remembered standing in the empty living room while workers painted the walls. Ethan wrapped his arms around me and whispered, "This is the life we dreamed about." Back then, I believed him. Now, I can barely remember that man. Because the Ethan sitting across from me at dinner tonight couldn't even look me in the eye. "You're not eating," I said quietly. "I had a late lunch." Lie. He always came home starving. I watched him type something under the table. Then his phone buzzed. A smile appeared instantly. Not for me. Never for me anymore. For her. I didn't know who she was yet. But women always know when another woman enters the room, even when she isn't physically there. "Who keeps texting you?" I asked casually. "No one important." The speed of his answer told me everything. I forced a smile. Must be very funny for no one important. His jaw tightened. "You're becoming paranoid lately." There it was. The classic move. Turn the wife into the problem. I nodded slowly and continued eating while my chest burned. Upstairs later that night, Ethan showered while his phone buzzed on the nightstand. Once. Twice. 3 times. I stared at it for a long moment. Then I picked it up. The password had changed. Of course it had. I laughed softly to myself. Not because it was funny. Because after 15 years together, my own husband was hiding from me like a teenage boy. That was the moment something inside me shifted. Not heartbreak. Not yet. Clarity. And clarity is dangerous. Especially in a woman who's been underestimated for too long.
Chapter 2, The Woman in Red Heels. I met her 3 days later. Not intentionally. Fate simply got tired of hiding her. I arrived early at Ethan's office because I wanted to surprise him with lunch. Stupid, right? Even after everything felt wrong, part of me still wanted to save us. The receptionist smiled nervously when I walked in. That should have been my first clue. "Is Ethan upstairs?" I asked. Yes. She wouldn't look at me directly. Interesting. I took the elevator to the executive floor. The doors opened. And there she was. Tall. Blonde. Red heels. Laughing outside my husband's office like she belonged there. She couldn't have been older than 28. When she saw me, her smile faded slightly. But not fully. Confident women don't panic easily. "Can I help you?" she asked. I almost laughed. "Help me? Inside my own husband's company?" "I'm looking for Ethan." Her expression changed instantly. Recognition. Oh. That tiny little word told me everything. She knew exactly who I was. Which meant Ethan talked about me. Probably not kindly. She opened the office door without knocking. "Ethan, your wife is here." Your wife. Not Naomi. Not Mrs. Carter. Just your wife. Like I was some inconvenient title. Ethan looked horrified when he saw me. Not guilty. Terrified. That hurt worse. "Naomi," he said quickly, standing up. "What are you doing here?" I lifted the bag of takeout. "Bringing lunch." The silence in that room was suffocating. Then the woman smiled politely and extended her hand. "I'm Vanessa." I looked at her hand. Then at Ethan. Then back at her. "You work here?" "Yes. Marketing director." "Interesting." Ethan had hired a new marketing director 6 months ago. 6 months ago was also when he stopped touching me. Funny coincidence. I finally shook her hand. Her nails were perfect. Designer bracelet. Diamond earrings. Expensive perfume. My money looked good on her. "I've heard so much about you," Vanessa said sweetly. I smiled back. "I'm sure you have." Ethan interrupted quickly. "Vanessa, can you give us a minute?" She nodded and walked away slowly. Too slowly. Like she wanted me to see the confidence in her walk. Like she'd already won. The second the door closed, Ethan exhaled hard. "You're embarrassing me." I stared at him in disbelief. "Embarrassing you? You're acting insecure." I actually laughed this time. "Insecure? Ethan, your girlfriend just introduced herself to me in your office." "She's not my girlfriend." "Right. You're overreacting." There it was again. The manipulation. The denial. The attempt to make me question reality. But he made one critical mistake. He underestimated how observant I'd become. Because while he talked, I noticed the lipstick stain on his coffee cup. Bright red. Same shade as Vanessa's heels.
Chapter 3, The Secret Credit Card. I didn't confront him again immediately. Men expect explosions. What terrifies them is silence. So I became quiet. Very quiet. And Ethan mistook that for weakness. Big mistake. Over the next 2 weeks, I started paying attention. Real attention. Bank statements. Business expenses. Travel receipts. And that's when I found it. A hidden credit card. Not hidden well either. Ethan always believed I didn't understand finances because he handled the company's public side. But I was the one who built our back-end systems. I knew where everything was buried. The card statement nearly made me sick. Luxury hotels. Jewelry stores. Private spas. 5-star restaurants. Thousands and thousands of dollars. All spent on Vanessa. But the part that truly shattered me? The house charges. Furniture deliveries. Interior decorators. Art purchases. At first, I didn't understand. Then I saw the address. Lakeview Estate. Our dream house. My hands went cold. I drove there immediately. The front gate opened automatically. When I stepped inside the mansion, I froze. Everything had changed. The neutral furniture I chose was gone. The paintings were replaced. The guest bedroom had become a glam room filled with makeup mirrors and designer bags. And in the master bedroom, there were women's clothes everywhere. Not mine. Hers. I stood in silence while the truth finally hit completely. Ethan hadn't just cheated. He'd moved her into our house. The house I designed. The house I paid for. The house where I raised our children. I walked into the closet slowly. Half my dresses were missing, replaced by tiny designer outfits that looked like they belonged on Instagram models. Then I saw it. A framed photo beside the bed. Vanessa and Ethan. Smiling. Happy. In my home. Something inside me snapped so quietly that it almost sounded peaceful. No screaming. No tears. Just stillness. Because heartbreak has a limit. After that limit, you become dangerous. I picked up the photo frame. Looked at it carefully. Then set it back down perfectly straight. And that was the exact moment I decided. I wasn't going to fight for the house. I was going to take everything.
Chapter 4: The Lawyer's Smile. The next morning, I met with the best divorce attorney in Manhattan. Gloria Whitman looked like the kind of woman who destroyed rich men for sport. Sharp gray suit. Silver hair. Cold eyes. She read through my documents silently for nearly 20 minutes. Finally, she looked up. "Your husband is arrogant." I smiled faintly. "You figured that out quickly. He transferred assets carelessly. That usually means he thinks his wife is too emotional to notice." I leaned back slowly. "So what happens now?" Gloria closed the folder. "That depends." "On what? Do you want revenge, or freedom?" "Good question. Because sometimes they aren't the same thing." I thought about Ethan. About Vanessa's clothes hanging in my closet. About 15 years of loyalty thrown away for a woman young enough to call me ma'am. Then I smiled. I want both. For the first time, Gloria smiled too. "That," she said calmly, "can absolutely be arranged."
Chapter 5: The Vacation Mistake. 2 weeks later, Ethan made the biggest mistake of his life. He took Vanessa to Italy. Using our company jet. Using company money. And before leaving, he sent me a single text. "I think some space will be good for both of us." Space. Funny word for abandoning your wife for a mistress. But what Ethan didn't know was this. While he was drinking champagne in Positano, I was becoming the sole legal owner of the lake house. See, Ethan had always handled public appearances. But legally, the property was mostly under my trust because of tax protection strategies our accountants created years ago. Strategies he never bothered reading carefully. Men like Ethan only pay attention when money disappears. And I was about to make a lot of money disappear. 3 days into their vacation, Gloria finalized everything. The mansion could legally be sold. Immediately. No permission required. I remember staring at the paperwork in complete silence. 15 years. Reduced to signatures. "You're sure?" Gloria asked. I looked out the office window. "No," I admitted softly. Then I signed anyway.
Chapter 6, sold in 48 hours. Luxury properties usually take months to sell. Mine took 48 hours. Because wealthy people love desperation sales. Especially billionaires. A tech investor from California bought the estate fully furnished. Including Vanessa's designer closet. That part made me smile. The movers packed everything exactly as it was. Her dresses. Her jewelry organizers. Even the stupid makeup chair she installed in my bedroom. Gone. Every single piece. I left only one thing behind in the empty house. The framed wedding photo Ethan once loved. Placed carefully on the kitchen counter. By the time Ethan's plane landed back in New York, the locks had already changed. I was sitting in a penthouse suite drinking coffee when my phone exploded. 27 missed calls. 14 voice messages. Dozens of texts. The final one simply said, "What did you do?" I finally answered. His voice came instantly. "You sold the house." I took another sip calmly. "Yes." "You're insane." "No, Ethan. Insane was moving your mistress into it. You had no right." I actually laughed. "My lawyers disagree." There was heavy breathing on the other side. Then Vanessa's voice suddenly appeared in the background. "Ask her where my things are." Oh, that made my day. I smiled slowly. "Tell Vanessa her shoes are probably somewhere over the Atlantic by now." "You vindictive bitch." I hung up. And for the first time in years, I slept peacefully.
Chapter 7, Public Humiliation. You know what rich men fear most? Not divorce. Not losing money. Embarrassment. Especially public embarrassment. And Ethan's humiliation had only just begun. Because once the mansion sale became public, people started asking questions. Board members. Investors. Business magazines. Apparently, CEO loses marital home after affair scandal isn't great for company image. Who knew? Then came the real disaster. The company audit. Remember the corporate card Ethan used on Vanessa? Yeah, that became evidence. Luxury vacations. Jewelry. Spa retreats. All charged through business accounts. Which technically counted as financial misconduct. By the second week, shareholders demanded an emergency meeting. By the third week, Ethan resigned. I still remember Gloria calling me that morning. "He's finished," she said simply. I stood silently in my apartment staring at the skyline. Finished. Such a small word for such massive destruction. But the strange part? I didn't feel happy. Not exactly. I felt empty. Because revenge doesn't heal you. It just balances the scale. And sometimes balance is enough.
Chapter 8, Vanessa learns the truth. 3 months later, Vanessa showed up at my building. Alone. No designer bags. No confidence. Interesting how quickly luxury disappears when the money stops. She looked exhausted. "What do you want?" I asked. She swallowed hard. "He lied to me." I raised an eyebrow. "You'll need to be more specific." "He told me the company was still stable. He said the divorce settlement ruined him unexpectedly." I almost smiled. Unexpectedly. Men always act shocked when consequences arrive. Vanessa looked down. "He can't afford anything anymore." There it was. The real reason she came. Not heartbreak. Financial panic. I crossed my arms. And tears filled her eyes. I wasted 2 years on him. I studied her quietly for a long moment. Then I said the one thing she probably never expected from me. "No. You wasted your youth chasing a lifestyle." Silence. Cold, brutal silence. Then I stepped closer. "The problem with stealing another woman's husband is this." She looked at me weakly. "You usually end up with the version she already got tired of surviving." And with that, I closed the door in her face. Forever. The end.